Chapter 81 Jia Tianlong. At this moment, Golden Wolf Jia Tianlong appeared smug. Because of the excitement, his normally pale and gloomy face had a slight flush. It was no wonder that he had such an expression. After all, the Seven Mysteries sect was Feral Wolf Gang's archenemy. Under his elaborate scheme, all those who were still alive would fall before him. As the commander of Feral Wolf Gang, he had the right to be arrogant. He stood halfway between the base of the mountain and setting sun summit. As it turned out, there were around 50 to 60 red-clothed members of the Feral Wolf Gang's Iron Guard surrounding the sentry post on the border of Seven Mysteries sect. Jia Tianlong had spent a substantial amount of painstaking effort to meticulously groom his army. Not only were they all highly capable in martial arts, they also had undying loyalty to Jia Tianlong. He had always regarded this army as a precious asset and would not normally utilize it in ordinary battles. However, at this moment, he brought the entire army with him just to completely intimidate the small and mid-sized gangs that were beginning to stir up trouble. The chiefs of Metal Spear Association and Broken Water Sect, who had been planning to rebel, were forced to obediently listen to his orders. After all, the smaller gangs did not wish to see Feral Wolf Gang standing alone. They all hoped that the two great powers would forever be in the midst of a struggle, creating cracks in which the smaller gangs could exist. Jia Tianlong did not have a decisive personality. Had it not been for the fact that Jia Tianlong had kidnapped the children of the gang chiefs as well as promised the smaller gangs a profit for helping the Feral Wolf Gang in this endeavor, the smaller gangs would have changed sides a long time ago. At this thought, Jia Tianlong involuntarily turned his head back to glance at several of the gang chiefs that were standing nearby. All of the people present were downcast. Seeing Jia Tianlong gaze towards them, they either glared back at him or avoided looking at him in the face. Looking at this situation, Jia Tianlong laughed coldly in his heart. Returning his attention to his front, he started thinking of a plan to annex all these small gangs after he took down the Seven Mysteries sect. In front of Jia Tianlong, there were close to 1,000 men present, all wearing different kinds of clothes and holding different weapons. They attacked the Seven Mysteries sect sentry posts like a swarm of bees. Because there was no formation due to the neglect of cooperation between these people, there were a lot of casualties. However, Jia Tianlong did not care because the people who were currently attacking were not from his Feral Wolf Gang. They were people that belonged to the Metal Spear Association and the Broken Water sect. In the first place, he did not place any hope in their ability to take over Setting Sun Summit. He only wanted them to waste the sentry's energies, so that his elite troops and crossbows could easily pick off the remaining exhausted sentries. Thinking of those military-grade rapid-fire crossbows, Jia Tianlong's calm expression revealed a trace of delight. This time, the Feral Wolf Gang easily gained a winning advantage through the killing machines that were used by the gang's troops. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to annihilate the opponent's troops. Even if a dozen of the Setting Sun Summit sentry posts were taken down, the Feral Wolf Gang's troops would suffer a great loss in strength, making it very detrimental for his future plan to annex the smaller gangs. Jia Tianlong did not spend the slightest bit of effort on the military-grade crossbows. Instead, they appeared out of nowhere in his home. Every time Jia Tianlong recalled that matter, he would immediately feel at ease. This happened 3 months ago when he was at his headquarters, planning an assault on the Seven Mysteries sect. Out of the blue, there was an officer claiming to be his relative who wanted to see him. Jia Tianlong felt somewhat astonished and met with that person. It turned out that the person was truly his older cousin from his father's side. Apparently, around 10 years ago, when Feral Wolf Gang was still a group of horse-mounted bandits, a portion of the gang had been ordered by the Jing Province's imperial court to enlist in the army in return for amnesty. This cousin was among that group of men. As years went by, his cousin was unexpectedly landed the position of deputy general in the army. Coincidentally, when his cousin was on the road escorting some goods across Jing Province, he had heard of Jia Tianlong, commander of Feral Wolf Gang. He naturally had to come and visit this cousin of his. When the two people had met, they exchanged some rueful greetings. Then, they both had talked about their experiences over the years. As Jia Tianlong mentioned the recent skirmishes against the Seven Mysteries sect, his cousin offhandedly proclaimed that their resistance would quickly fall if he provided Jia Tianlong with 100 rapid-fire crossbows of good quality. Jia Tianlong would be able to kill everyone in the Seven Mysteries sect until there was no one left. Though his cousin might have mentioned it casually, Jia Tianlong listened with intent as his heart skipped a beat. He tried asking his cousin if it was possible to give him the 100 crossbows. His cousin slightly laughed and told Jia Tianlong honestly that the goods he was transporting were exactly these rapid-fire crossbows. It was not that he could not give Jia Tianlong any, but rather that he could not give away too many. He only had to bribe the government officials receiving the goods with a few taels of silver. Jia Tianlong rejoiced at what his cousin said and spent the 2 silvers at once, exchanging them for 300 rapid-fire crossbows from his cousin. Jia Tianlong entrusted them to his trusted subordinates to utilize them well, resulting in the recent series of victories. Their defense has been broken. There's a breach. A burst of earth-shaking sounds rang out, startling Jia Tianlong from his thoughts. He was somewhat shocked and hastily raised his head to look towards the mountain peak, only to see that the Seven Mysteries sect sentry posts had really been breached and were jam-packed with people from the smaller gangs. Jia Tianlong wrinkled his brows as he felt that something was a bit strange. According to the strength of the defending guards, it was reasonable to say that the last stretch ought to be even more difficult to attack. How could it be taken down by some miscellaneous troops? Perhaps there was some other conspiracy in play. A gloomy expression appeared on his face. Anyone that was familiar with Commander Jia Tianlong would know that this was a sign that he was not pleased in his heart. If anyone provoked him during this time, that person would wish he or she was dead. Since it has been breached, why are we not moving? A voice sounding like a broken gong rang out. There was no hint of respect for Commander Jia Tianlong contained in that sentence. Commander Jia Tianlong would have been extremely angry, but instead, he turned around and respectfully said, "Master Zhang, I feel that there is something fishy about this breach. I'm afraid there might be a trap located inside. It's better to be a bit more cautious." "What are you afraid of? With me by your side, how can these ordinary people even be able to hurt you? Let's go, let's go. I've been here for close to an entire night, I'm extremely tired. The faster we dispose of these Seven Mysteries sect bastards, the faster I can rest my old bones." This voice did not sound old at all, but he let out an overflowing archaic tone that was very irritating to the ear.